You ever get told to move your livestock or else you'll be forcibly removed from land your family's owned since 1952? Yeah, that happened to me. I'm standing on my grandfather's porch boots planted right where he stood for 70 years, staring down a woman who moved here 6 months ago and thinks her HOA clipboard is the Constitution. She's got that bleached hair lacquered into a helmet vanilla perfume so strong it could kill mosquitoes at 50 yards, and she's waving some legal-looking notice like she's about to evict me from my own ranch. It's almost funny, except she's dead serious. Let me back up a sec. My name's Garrett Stone, and before all this, I was living the good life in D.C., pulling 6 figures as a senior policy advisor at HUD, writing the kind of federal HOA regs that keep the sharks at bay. 15 years congressional hearings, more bad coffee than a man should survive. Then Grandpa Joe passed, left me the Lazy G Ranch down here in Cedar Falls, Texas. 40 acres of prime cattle land and oil rights population, about 400 if everyone's home for supper. Out here, the sunrise is gold, the coffee'll wake the dead, and the only traffic jam is a cow that won't move off the gravel drive. Or it was till Karen Whitfield showed up. Picture this, she rolls in from Dallas, buys a McMansion in Whispering Oaks, and before the moving truck's gone, she's running for HOA board. Give her a month, she's president. Give her 2, she's writing violations on a clipboard like she's issuing divine orders. She's in yoga pants that cost more than most folks' trucks, and her smile could sour milk. The first notice she stuck on my door was about agricultural nuisances threatening property values, which is rich since my family's been running cattle here since her neighborhood was still coyote grass. At first I figured she was just clueless, some city transplant with HOA fever, so I tried the neighborly thing. Sweet tea on the porch, gentle talk about Texas traditions. Big mistake. She shows up with her cousin Dale, a code enforcer with more attitude than authority, and they start taking pictures of everything from my manure pile to my chickens, who look more insulted than usual. The next morning, there's a manila envelope taped to my door, cease and desist, all caps, from the legal offices of Whitfield and Associates, which turns out to be her kitchen table and a Costco laser printer. She wants all my ag operations shut down, says I'm encroaching on HOA land with a doctored map, and there's an emergency compliance hearing scheduled at the country club, no less, Thursday 7 p.m., right during supper. I went just to see how deep the crazy would go. The room smells like old money air freshener and fear. Karen's running this like Judge Judy meets Mean Girls, with 12 board members lined up behind a mahogany table, me on a folding chair. She's got a PowerPoint, my barn labeled a biological hazard, my chickens disease vectors, and Grandpa's tractor, apparently a structural eyesore. When she called me up, I just said, "Ma'am, can I see those covenants you keep quoting?" She nearly choked, said those were proprietary and couldn't be distributed to outside parties. On land my family's owned since her grandpa was probably in diapers. So I slid my old HUD business card across the table, 15 years of federal regulatory experience, and let the silence hang. What most folks don't know is by federal law, any HOA claiming jurisdiction must provide their rules to any property owner upon request. If they don't, that's evidence of discrimination. You could hear a pin drop. Then Beverly, a soft-spoken teacher on the board, pipes up, "Karen, didn't you say Mr. Stone was just a local rancher?" The cracks start to show right there. Now, I wish I could say that was the end, but you don't know, Karen. Next week I get code enforcement for unpermitted agricultural structures. Half my barns were built before the Beatles. Then the Texas Environmental Commission shows up, 4 hours of soil testing on an anonymous tip. The next day, a vet from the state, Dr. Martinez, checks for diseased livestock. My cows get a clean bill of health, better than half the country club regulars. Karen's strategy is obvious: drown me in bureaucracy and fees till I give up and sell. I've seen this before make it costlier to fight than surrender, but I'm not built to roll over. Then Beverly shows up at my porch shaking like a leaf coffee cup rattling in her hand. She brings emails, bank records, texts, a smoking gun trail. Turns out this isn't about community standards at all. It's about Sunset Holdings, the developer, feeding Karen inside info, dangling a $50, $1,000 finder's fee if she can force me out. She's been running this scam for years. Different counties, different HOAs, always the same playbook: pressure violations, bad press, lowball offer. What's worse, her whole HOA legally never even formed. The covenants, the authority, it's all hot air, no incorporation, no filings, nothing. Dr. Martinez calls me that night, says Karen's been filing fake complaints across Texas, always next to planned developments. My stomach drops. How many other families lost their land because they didn't know better? I spend that night in Grandpa's old chair, surrounded by evidence, knowing I can't just fight for myself anymore. Friday morning, I wake to Channel 7 News in my driveway, Karen front and center with kids in masks claiming my cattle are killing the community. But the reporter, bless her, actually interviews real locals, old Pete, whose family's known mine since Korea and Rosa at the feed store. By noon, the media's turned on Karen. Her real estate deals expose the finder's fee out in the open, her so-called crisis falling apart on air. That weekend, I call in every favor from D.C., file complaints with HUD, the Texas Real Estate Commission, even the FBI. Karen's crossed every line: wire fraud, embezzlement, civil rights violations, the whole federal enchilada. Meanwhile, Beverly's quietly rallying the board, recording meetings, building a case. By Wednesday, 3 board members have resigned. The rest want Karen gone. She's desperate now, files a false police report claiming I threatened her. Sheriff Morrison, who's known me since I was knee-high, laughs her out of his office after seeing my security footage and phone records. But Karen's still got one last performance: hires actors to impersonate federal agents. Serve me a fake EPA eviction notice, the works. What she doesn't know, real feds are already surveilling her for months. My security cameras catch every minute her cousin Dale and a couple muscle-bound buddies trying to evacuate my cattle by cutting fences. Morrison rolls in deputies at his back. Karen gets cuffed on the spot for everything from livestock theft to impersonating federal officers. Her face as the handcuffs click, picture justice served with a side of cosmic irony. Next night, there's a packed town hall. Karen struts in, tries to spin her arrest as misunderstood federal operations. Beverly stands up, calls her out for stealing $127,000 from community funds. I walk to the front, lay out the evidence: embezzlement, the developer connection recordings of her hiring PIs to plant evidence. The crowd gasps, turns on her in real time. Then Special Agent Martinez of the FBI stands and reads her rights in front of the whole town. Karen goes out screaming conspiracy, but nobody's buying it. 6 months later, the ranch is quiet. Just me, the cattle, and the sunrise over 40 golden acres that aren't going anywhere. Karen's in federal prison, 15 to 20 on wire fraud, mail fraud, civil rights violations, impersonating officers, and RICO for operating a criminal enterprise. Her developer buddies lost their contracts, their money, and their appetite for Texas land theft. Our community's stronger. Beverly's now HOA president, a real one with proper paperwork, open books, and not a clipboard tyrant in sight. I took my settlement and set up the Garrett Stone Community Defense Foundation, legal help for rural families fighting corrupt HOAs and shady developers. We've already helped dozens beat the same scam. Sheriff Morrison stops by for coffee, still chuckling that Karen basically prosecuted herself. Dr. Martinez brings students to study how real agriculture's done. The state even passed the Rural Family Protection Act, thanks in part to all this mess, a law that'll protect families like mine for generations. You know, Karen thought she was targeting some helpless country rube. Instead, she ran into a guy who helped write the rules. Now, when I drink my coffee on this porch, I hear my grandfather's voice. Sometimes you gotta fight for what's right, but if you're fighting for the right reasons, you'll win. Turns out he was right. And Karen Whitfield, she's got plenty of time now to think about it. So now it's your turn. Drop a comment. What's your HOA nightmare story? Ever tangled with a bully who thought you didn't know your rights? If you're facing a fight like this, don't stay quiet. Help's out there, and sometimes all it takes is one call to the right agency. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, because trust me, there are more Karens out there who need a lesson in real justice. Remember, bullies count on your silence, but when you know your rights and stand your ground, they fold faster than a house of cards in a Texas tornado. This is Garrett Stone reminding you, fight the good fight and protect what's yours.